What is up, my AKA Patters, friends and foes? Because I know we get a lot of haters now. Say hello to our two table mascots, Crypt and Pike. And I'm sorry, but Big Boa is not a table mascot. And if you need to know who I am, simple, it's Peter A. DeLuca. And right now, I'm using backup camera software. We had a failure earlier this week. I've been working overtime to get mostly, if we just want to define it, the podcast and illustration and my video drops regular. And a lot of this entails stockpiling content. And sometimes we even still have to skip days while we're gearing up for everything, which is why we don't have a a YouTube video drop today. But cheers to all of you. We're working on Big Boa. If you're not familiar with Big Boa, he formerly was supposed to be Rocky Balboa. Got changed at the last minute. He ended up, just basically ended up as an action figure. I don't think he even made it into the order of battle. If you guys know a little bit about the GI Joe lore, but a lot of people don't like this guy. And this stream is about we draw on Saturdays, and we work on characters that people kind of hate. And this is not the final. This is not the final version of this. We're just working on a sketch. I kind of wanted to continue this idea. So I think we're going to do some inking. I'm going to get into some coloring for this. And depending on our time, I might get into transferring this to the bigger, thicker Strathmore paper. So we'll see. I'm just kind of working towards getting a little bit more momentum with these. And just being able to pop on real quick and kind of know what you're working on is a big help to get into that direction. So, guys, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Always do. We're working with traditional art techniques here. We're not, no AI, no digital. We are as pure as the snow is white. We're doing some ink work with a traditional brush. The new camera, by the way, guys, the new camera should be here sometime on Monday, and I'm super excited. Because we were kind of due for an upgrade regardless. So just being able to upgrade that, get that going, and basically kind of eliminate any future camera trouble. I should have been on top of it because any device failure for as long as I had that camera, like that falls on me. So I do apologize in advance. I know the autofocus for this is horrible. And the audio, oh my god, I was listening to the audio yesterday while bouncing around the city, and I couldn't do it. Could not do it, aka Patters. Sean, what is up? Sean, did I answer your last question on YouTube? I love your questions, dude. They are so random, but they're actually like they're thoughtful. They kind of get me thinking. I hope you're well, dude, and thank you for joining the stream and hanging out. It means a lot. See, I just view a lot of this as like red. Like I want these Cobra guys to be 1,000% in like red light, red shadow. just think it works so well with the attitude of, like if we can say the franchise, right? If we say the franchise, we mean G.I. Joe, but I kind of mean it as the Cobra franchise. I just don't recall a lot of artwork that looks, for lack of a better term, stylized coming from G.I. Joe. We've had a lot of styles within the, collectively, all the artwork. And maybe I'm wrong, but I would say that, was it the G.I. Joe, not Resolute, G.I. Joe Renegades? That was G.I. Joe Renegades was absolutely stylized. Norin, what is up, dude? Hey, Norin, if you want to hang tight, I got something to show you real quick. I was going to do a video that's upcoming this week announcing another sketchbook project and basically realigning my sketchbook work, but there's something in that I thought you would appreciate. Let me grab that real quick. So here's a preview, and these are going to be all over social media. What, I need to find something else. Here it is. So I kept these for a couple years now. I bought these during Avengers Infinity War, right? Like, I just call them my Thanos pencils, but they're like Valentines, right? So like 16 Valentines, 16 pencils. Like, I'm not sure. Yeah, right here. And this box is completely torn up, but I kept it because my whole idea was to use these 16 pencils. You ready? For a Thanos themed sketchbook. So this is like leather bound. Paper quality is fantastic. And I think the big idea is I kind of want to draw the Infinity War movie. Like, I want to draw the Infinity War movie. I think that might be the big idea. Or I have the Infinity War trade paperback on my desk at work because I keep a stack of villain volumes where I work to send a message. And maybe, like, I can recreate the Infinity War in here. And I don't know. But then I was thinking, like, we do have a lot of pages, but I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool if there was like one, like, let's just say one page or one panel from the Infinity War comic book, and then I turn it and it's like one page, one panel, or one frame from the Infinity War movie. So it'll be like comic book movie, and I don't know if that's too abstract of an idea, but just saying that out loud now for the first time, it thrills me. It really does. Because there are similarities, there are overlaps, especially in the beginning of Infinity War, the comic book, and Infinity War, the movie. Now, if I did Infinity War, the comic book, should I include Thanos' quest? Or should I just make this all like a representation of Thanos' quest, Infinity War, and or Infinity Gauntlet, and then some of Infinity War? I don't know, but that's coming. But I thought you would appreciate that since you are Well, yeah, I know you as Norrin Red. We'll keep that awesome up. But guys, really, no exaggeration. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Random on a Saturday, like I am flattered. I don't know about you guys, but I love doing like lens flare reflections. I don't know if you guys enjoy seeing that as much as I enjoy doing them. I just think they add so much of the like the real style to things, like a little bit intangible. It's been a little bit since I just worked all in brush in this style too. But Big Bowen, yeah, I remember even as a kid, uh, even as a kid, I thought this was like a all right looking figure. To me, it made sense that the Cobras had a like a trainer, right? Because they're military. In the cartoon, there was a lot of like one-to-one combat, hand-to-hand combat. So I don't know, but I know people like to take that high horse position on this character now. They pretend that he's the worst thing to ever exist, which is like a WTF, to be honest. Fatal, Fatal J, what is up, my boy? Fatal, I got some stuff for you queued up for the week, just so you know, and that will be revealed on a stream. So be on the lookout. Teaser. And Jay, dude, that Witchblade DM made my effing day, dude. Thank you so much for that. There is something like there. It's sometimes like for myself, like let me get a little vulnerable here, but sometimes for myself, like I work so much in my own tunnel, like bubble, right? Like I'm very much in my own bubble a lot, and it's nice to know other people are out there that kind of know they care about the gospel. I'll say they care about uh a little bit of the fight, and that's just how I view a lot of what's on the channel now. Like kind of maintaining the voice of Wildstorm Productions and making uh hated GI Joe characters look fun, cool, and totally presentable. Like there's a little bit of a activism there, and Top Cow. It's just like, man, like it's even right now as I'm talking, it's just eye opening that so many people ignore what that company did. But we're really going to go all in on Malibu, CrossGen, and Valiant Comics. The only thing holding me back is reading. I can only read so much. And, I'm a big, I read a lot of books. Like I go into some very deep topics. Like today, I had all my nuclear submarine books delivered. Because I had a conversation about two weekends ago in front of a submarine, and some questions came up, and I didn't know enough about it, and I felt embarrassed. So I spent a good chunk of change from on Amazon ordering nuclear submarine books. Skybound is doing G.I. Joe and Transformers, but no one is speaking on Larry Hama killing it on the current G.I. Joe run. Yeah, but you know what my issue is a little bit with Hama? He killed Snake Eyes. Which, like I guess, like could we say is Snake Eyes his character to kill? And then we kind of have to ask the question: is Snake Eyes a sacred cow? I don't know. That's a little bit tough. But you know what, Jay? Speaking of GI Joe Transformers and some of the Dreamwave stuff, are you familiar with the with the Jay Lee GI Joe Transformers that takes place in WW1? If you're not, I will do that on the channel. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Turner background was martial arts and water sports. I know, dude. Like he really was. Uh, like that's why in that video, like with Pat Lee, one of my observations was how they talk about how they like mythicize so quickly the Image 7, where a lot of what Pat Lee embodied at the time and Michael Turner embodied at the time was more of what people transferred onto the Image 7. Like Pat Lee, skateboarder, six pack, kind of a little bit of a Renaissance man. Michael Turner, adventurer, fearless, great business sense. All like and people put a lot of that onto the Image 7, but it was really those two guys. Like a lot of that conversation, in my view, got retconned. But that's why we do what we do on the channel, dude. Like let's like get the conversation corrected a little bit. Jay, what are you doing now? Are you at work? I don't know if you work on the weekends, because I was just dealing with a couple things earlier, not critical support stuff, or just kind of admin stuff. Knox Security, if you're familiar with that service for mobile devices. Here we go. And after this, I am working the F out, everyone. I will be lovingly at the gym, because I had to skip the last 2 days. And both of the skips were my fault. Really bad time management. Yesterday, the window I had, it's like I needed to take a little bit of a cat nap, because yesterday I woke up at, holy crap, like maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and just kind of like stayed, like just ended up staying up. Tried to go back to sleep, couldn't do it. I don't know if you guys deal with that. Sometimes it's I get so anxious. I was like so into that Prestige format video that dropped. I just kept thinking about it, and I was like, if I kind of get up now, I can finish it, publish it at 6. Like I kind of promised, but I haven't been doing, because of there's good reasons though. I'm still battling between like doing things that I feel like are topical and maintaining a schedule while having a inventory. And I know that's a confusing cross section for spectators. But hopefully you guys don't mind it too much. But here we go. Yeah, the Jay Lee style for the Dreamwave Transformers GI Joe. That changed it. Like what really got Jay Lee back was the Stephen King The Stand. When he did that, people accepted his new style for like it was one of the weirdest pivots I've ever seen, just in the audience accepting something. But people to this day still want they want that Namor, they want that Executioner song, they want that Blood Strike, like that the Wildcats trilogy. They want that Jay Lee, and he never he I don't think he's even returned to it, just in like a cover or like a teaser image or something. He stayed away from it, which is amazing in my eyes. I mean, really committing to that. Uh, I don't know, like Misty. I don't know how we even describe Jay Lee's pivot style wise. There we go. Norin. Yeah, see, here we go. Jay Lee Savage Namor is the best. It is, guys. It's insane how much people are locked in on that Jay Lee. Yeah, it's and Joe Mad too. Kind of Joe Mad, in my view, like he had more manga effects, like the way how he drew energy, explosions, even like the panel to panel fight scenes. Just his fight scenes, especially in X Men, from panel to panel, very manga for sure. Yeah, Hellshock is on the rate. You know what, Norin? You gave me an idea, dude. Maybe I should do Hellshock on Monday because of the Crow movie, right? That's a good dude. That's a good idea. Yeah, work graveyards. Yeah, I know graveyards all night, dude. Jay Lee did Dark Tower, correct? Thank you, Norin, dude. You're rocking and rolling today. Thank you so much. Yeah, Dark Tower. I got guys. I have. Where is my? I moved my Stephen King stack. Where is my Stephen King stack? I have. I think Dark Tower 1 and 2 in first editions. I've had such a lucky throughout the years, such a big Stephen King run because I'm relatively like in. If I increase my walking distance to 2 hours, there's about seven awesome, amazing used bookstores around me here in Philly, and they like I would say two of them check, but the other ones don't. And I went on a run where I was doing nothing but finding like Stephen King first editions, and I was so happy and grateful because I don't know why, but I love reading a first edition. They don't sit on my shelf. I read them. Yeah, it is. I agree, dude. Jay Lee. Yeah, vision is perfection. Yeah, yeah. Like the Joe Mad X Men stuff. Look, I would really, if you want to focus on Maggot and Marrow, are two characters that Joe Mad was behind. Yeah, like he had a involvement and a stake in them. Those two characters are absolutely maligned nowadays. They are trashed. And if you look at how Joe Mad, I mean, Joe Mad drew an issue where Marrow fights Peter Parker, fights Spider Man, and that cover alone, if that doesn't give you the idea that we have a new character and that new character is here, meaning Marrow, uh, I don't know. Like, I don't think uh, people are just playing ignorant. They're playing dumb. But if Joe Mad continued, let's just say Joe Mad had a 10-year run on Uncanny X-Men. Let's just say it was a 10-year run. Joe Mad would have made Maggot and Marrow marquee characters, meaning if you did an X-Men movie, you would eventually adapt Marrow and Maggot to the big screen. But those characters left with him leaving the book. It's just weird. Like a lot of, the comic business is a weird effing thing. The comic business is odd, everyone. So, just so you guys know, what I don't like about this is this arm. And this is what I want to redraw, but we're basically now inking something I don't enjoy at all. Like I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I'm sorry. And I'm losing a little bit of our vascularity here. Give me 1 second, people. I'm sorry. I just have to focus sometimes. What a amazing group already. So grateful for you guys. Don't you guys think though, like honestly speaking, just with the level of conversations that we have on these streams, I mean, I think I nailed it. If you guys go back to watch some of that prestige format, it was one of the videos this week. It might have been the prestige format where I kind of like make the observation where, if we're reading comics on this channel and we're actually just like actively discussing comics, and I hate to say it, but somewhat gatekeeping, just kind of like read comics and comment type stuff. Like don't not read the comics and come in. That's what I mean by gatekeeping. But I really do feel like the levels of conversations that we have, just in this thread alone, I don't see it anywhere, right? Because people just like the way that they want to report on comics is not this channel. Yeah, I agree. The Dark Tower by Jay Lee is dope, 1,000%. Yeah, where I live. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, always look at the no matter where you're at. If you see books, look at the books. Yeah, dude. Yeah, here we go. I like it that we're Team Marrow. No, Marrow was not Gen X. Gen X was. Hold up. I'm getting a brain fart to the members. Chamber. FedEx was Chamber. Like Slug. Jubilee. The team leaders. It was Banshee and Emma White, the White Queen. Oh my god, I'm forgetting the members of Gen X. Holy crap! Yeah, yeah. It's I saw some of that. I saw some of that. Yeah, it does look good. Those covers look good. Four four questions in one. Uh, who is your favorite GI Joe, male or female, and who is your favorite villain, male or female, in GI Joe? Uh, so when I do favorites, I right, I don't like to do the basic stuff, right? Because everyone would say Snake Eyes, everyone would say Destro. So villain, guys. I mean, not used enough ever. And I've read a lot of a lot of the GI Joe comics. Dude, I love Major Blood, and I love Major Blood. If you just go to the action figure and you see his his eye patch, his bionic arm, and he's got dog tags, meaning he's killed Joes, right? He's killed a lot of people. Major Blood is, in my view, like the Cobra. He is what he represents Cobra more than Destro. He represents Cobra more than the Baroness or Cobra Commander. To me, Major Blood is representative of just a character instantly. Just like Boba Fett. You know, like when you would see Boba Fett, you would see like the markings on the armor. He had the braided hair coming from his cloak or his cape. All the weird weapons, all the weird symbols. That's a part of what made Boba Fett so effing intriguing. To me, like Major Blood is a GI Joe version for sure of uh of uh Boba Fett. And when it comes to the Joe side, ah, it really might be Chuckles, because the GI Joe Cobra, the first IDW miniseries, that's where he's undercover, and they're trying to figure out like what Cobra is. And like, like GI Joe isn't quite GI Joe yet, but he's undercover, and to prove his allegiance, like he needs to kill. And his informant, right, is Jinx. The Red Ninja. She was also in GI Joe Retaliation, but he needs to kill Jinx, and he's got to kill her. And they're somewhat in a relationship too, because again, it's a spy thriller, so weird things happen when it's life, death, and spies. It seems that there's always a lot of sex in those scenarios, story wise. But that was really, it wasn't so much of a character defining moment for me, but that story arc, which later, right, like I'm pretty sure later, like that became the foundation and canon of the what they call the IDW GI Joe, not the GI Joe Real American Hero that stems from the original Marvel comic book #1. But it was really kind of this idea of how Chuckles being an undercover specialist, like, or undercover agent, to like how that would roll into a war with Cobra. And I just think it's so interesting. But Chuckles, like, even, but again too, like even when I was a kid, like I got the point of Chuckles. Like I never thought Chuckles was like a throwaway toy or character, because you could clearly see he was undercover. Like he was a boot on the ground very differently. So yeah, long form, long winded answer. Yeah, there you go. Scarlet Rescue. Yeah, Destro Baroness. Yeah. Dude, I absolutely love not the pimp Destro, but the Iron Grenadier Destro. And the whole Iron Grenadier thing, I think it's great. And it kind of, if we just again go back to the toys, you could kind of assume that that Cobra was in like its own civil war, and Destro was like breaking off or gaining too much power. You could like create those storylines very easily, but I don't think the gold face Destro gets enough. It gets enough credibility. Gets enough credit. I don't know why, but dude, the gold like spikes, the gold armaments, the red cape, it's like gold, red, and black. It is so effing, guys. That's what cool is built on. Nothing but cool. And it kind of, you guys got me thinking. Like from the cartoon though, when I was younger, I loved Doctor Mindbender, and I think he's right. Is he one of the characters now people are supposed to hate? But dude, like Doctor Mindbender was such like a POS because he's the one that actually had schemes that worked, right? Like they did create Serpentor. They defeated GI Joe and created Serpentor in the process. And essentially, Serpentor is like their god. Yeah, and he's like it's not like Serpentor's like linked to anything. Like he's legit like Doctor Mindbender's like creation. And again, Doctor Mindbender being a complete like weirdo, being jacked up, right? Like, does he have a cobra tattoo on his chest? I don't know if he does, but he's so ridiculous. It's again perfect. And he was another one too. Like he was so well portrayed in that cartoon. When you had the action figure, like that was the personality you put into that action figure. Killer stuff, aka Patters. The real question, maybe you guys want to answer this though. The real question is, and I'm not talking, it's okay if you're like, not of the age, but what vehicles are really the ones? Because the vehicles are to me, a little bit more of a conversation because I see more diverse opinions on vehicles. Like there's people that don't like the Hiss. They don't like what the Hiss looks like. They don't like the Vamp. They think the Mobat is too realistic, and they rather have the Havoc. I think the vehicles are really a part of the absolute DNA of real American hero. But speaking of vehicles, though, I always liked the Havoc. Though I thought the Havoc was like again like oddly perfect, oddly perfect. Because it's not easy on the eyes for sure. Yeah, Banshee was the char. And remember too, Banshee, real quick, fail, Jay. Banshee had a really good arc at the X Corp when Joe Casey was writing the book. That, in my view, that was the last of the significance of that character. Yeah, so like, but Jay, do you how far into Street Fighter do you go? Do you go into like the entire catalog? Like I'm kind of it's like to me it's like Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition and Alpha. Like that's really as far as Street Fighter I can go. Uh uh Cannon Snake Eyes. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something to it. I think there is like a level of intrigue with him being like a surfer boy, like a California blonde hair, like like Steve Rogers looking dude. Sorry, I'm just trying to pick my spots here. Sometimes I have to remind myself what the intent of my pencil scratches are. Yeah, Jay, do you have the Udon Studios hardback reprints of the I guess like at the time what was like the Image comic book Street Fighter series? That's where Joe Mad did excuse me, he did a backup story. Like first time it was the first time Joe Mad did all pencil. Like he didn't have an inker, but it was the origin of Sagat's Scar. Those volumes have long been on my list to complete. And I am because every time I come across them, I'm like, I just have to start buying these, and I never get around to it. Yeah, love them all. Yeah, and right there, we've had a GI right. Have we had a GI Joe uh crossover like GI Joe Street Fighter crossover? I think we've had right. I'm not and I'm not talking about the toy line post live action movie, but that, I guess technically that would kind of count, right? That toy line. Which is hilarious too. Like, isn't it crazy even how like those figures go up in value? And it's just like why? There's a people supposedly hated these like too much. Like, what are we doing? Like, not bad today, guys. I'm sorry. I always make this turn now where I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to like do this. I don't want to like screw it up. But then it's like the more I work on it, the more attached to it I become, and it's like the less I hate it. Like I hate it just a little bit less, enough to finish it. I'll say that I hate it less enough to finish it. There you go. We just construct our own words here and meanings. Yeah. Oh, dude, this camera. This camera has no. It's like autofocus only. It doesn't. There's no controls for what it focuses. Yeah, Street Fighter Turbo series, the manga artist. Okay, Chamba. Yeah, and dude, like Jay, I remember, like Malibu had like a 3 or 6 issue Street Fighter series that wasn't bad. Again, that's another series that people will crap on. But then there was also before that a Street Fighter black and white manga printed like regular size American size comic book that I believe might have been 8 to 12 issues. Instead of like the fighting game in the comic, was that a good? Did you read that? Was the Street Fighter crossover GI Joe? Was that good? Is that worth discussion? Because Jay, we have high standards here when it comes to the comic book discussion. Here we go. Look at that. Big old fist. Was it no? Was it the same artist? I forget the dude. I've been waiting for the Malibu Mortals to kind of get a little bit better with pricing because I need Blood and Thunder. But yeah, maybe it is the same art. I remember the artist different, and I cannot even think of who did that Mortal Kombat work. But that was a time where, like, between the movie, the cartoon series, and the live action show, that Mortal Kombat kind of had more of a collective lore. Like those comics were like way because those comics connected directly into the video game, plugged right into it. Yeah, entertaining and funny. Okay, okay, okay. But like that's like one of those great things where like the characters, where the GI Joe lineup, like let's just say their catalog of characters, they fit perfectly with Street Fighter. Like it's one of the only times where like a crossover just it appears so natural you would question if it already happened, if they're doing it for the first time. And few crossovers have that effect where you're just like, man, like why, like this doesn't feel like a crossover, it doesn't feel like a money grab, it just feels natural because the characters like sync up so well. That's like the holy grail for just crossovers. It's a little bit like, and Jay, I know you're a fan, but it's a little bit like Backlash Spider-Man, where once you were kind of like engaged in that book, like once you start reading it, it was like it's depressing because you're like, oh, this is only 2 issues. Like I don't want this to end. I want this to kind of keep going. And it's so funny too because like you would think that someone like Brett Booth, who did such a really like jaw dropping job with that, and you're like, oh, like they're going to give him the keys to the kingdom. Like Brett Booth's going to draw the Amazing Spider-Man or one of his like 10 titles at the time, and it's like he doesn't. Like it never happens, and that's where you kind of that's where it's okay to have a rebellion. But I'm trying to think like of other. I think like Green Lantern, Silver Surfer, perfect crossover. Just in optics alone. Wait, Jay Lee did a Mortal Kombat issue for what? For do I need to look that up? I just need to know that. Let's see. Jay Lee Mortal Kombat. All right. But where is let's just see here. I see it's on Amazon, on X. So it must have been for DC, right? Dude, and this I always forget his name. The Aztec dude is so is such a yeah, and forget this girl. Lotus. She's awesome. They're all like these are all like 8, 9, and 10. See, like I'm looking at some of I see his covers, but I'm not seeing him in the credits. It doesn't matter, dude. Like look at this Raiden. I didn't even know he did this many pieces, dude. This Raiden is insane. Like look at this Alice Cooper cover. Ugh, I hate this camera. Guys, wait until Monday. This kind of makes me want the just at least be able to read the DC MK. Sorry, guys. I don't know if you saw. I got a message in there. Believe it or not, that was a work message because we're 24/7 on Microsoft Teams. But I think we're kind of getting this guy looking. At least he's looking real, right? And his, like, the tube that goes into his helmet is one of my favorite. It's just one of my weird favorite, uh, like, parts of any and all GI Joe. I just think it's such a weird thing, and it's kind of creepy. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second here. I'm trying to see some of what the areas are, what the blocks are here. Sorry. Sometimes you just gotta, like, not talk, hold your breath, get a couple lines in there, right? Like, that's a little bit of what we have to do. Here we go. Sometimes, like, too, like, when it just kind of, like, works where you just see it happen. That's a little bit of, just, as if you want to call me an artist or creator or whatever. Not that I think of myself as such, but that's kind of where, as an artist, you get that dopamine, like, pop when you really see something kind of just, like, come to life, and you're just like, wow. And if you're not doing things where you somewhat surprise yourself along the way, you're just it's a lot of it's like physical fitness. Like, you're not pushing yourself enough. You're not looking at it the right way. Like, your outlook is poor. Here we go. I mean, at least he's looking cool. He's looking like he's from the 90s. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, Art of Blood and Thunder is done by Kiki. Yeah, James and Bruce. Right. Yeah, I mean, could you imagine that? Could you imagine if they kind of restarted the Marvel universe, but started it post Onslaught? So you bring all the character things, like, back to, like, you roll everything back, and you just put, like, Brett Booth on the Spider, which probably would have been the Ben Riley Spider-Man, but you put Brett Booth on that, which technically that's where we were with Backlash Spider-Man, and you put Brett Booth on that. Like, I'm telling you, it would be like, would it outsell McFarlane? It wouldn't, but comparatively speaking, I think it would. I think if they did no gimmicks, one cover, made it a 45-page comic for about $3, I don't know. But those are the moves that have to get done. But I don't think they even have the resources for those moves anymore. He's killing a gunslinger. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah, Todd paying him to leave. Yeah, right. Yeah, I still want him to do a Spider-Man book, but yeah, dude, like Brett Booth too is like I do have a I've had it playing for a while, which was like the rise and fall of Brett Booth, which is really kind of it would document where like he kind of started, what those pitfalls were. Because yeah, I'm critical on where Brett Booth was just as an illustrator and storyteller. Like it took him like 10, 15 years to really get traction. But it doesn't mean he didn't have spectacular like moments and but you know, like through his Anita Blake run, through the Extinction books, like right, like Brett Booth like always produced, always was relevant. But when like the New 52 happened, and around that time where like Jim Lee kind of had like a little bit more power, uh, and then like kind of Brett Booth was in that picture, and then he's not, and that's kind of what I speak about when I talk about the fall of Brett Booth. Because Brett Booth, even through Jim Lee, should be a part of DC's house style. Like he should be a seminal name connected to DC Comics at this point. He does great dinos, yeah. I because I believe like didn't he do scientific drawings? Like that was kind of part of his like real gig, and comics was like his side gig. Yeah, he always found, yeah, even in his Fantastic Four, he drew dinos. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Norrin. Thank you, Norrin. A lot of this type of shadowing, like here, like everything you guys saw there, a lot of that is Kiki from Blood and Thunder. Kiki had a way of like simplifying it, and you saw it on the page. Like you kind of saw what those shortcuts were. And the inking too, like the inking for Blood and Thunder too. I love it's like kind of 90s style, but it's also like thick and chunky. Like really cool stuff, guys. Like really cool stuff. Like dare I say, groundbreaking visually at the time. And if you guys haven't noticed, like his second leg here, I have no idea what to do with this with that second leg. Here we go. Like some of this too was to make the glove seem like reflective and rubbery, and it doesn't look that way. And that's where like just from the ink, like you want to convey that, and you don't want to leave it up to the colorist. But I think nowadays people would just be like, just like leave a note for the colorist, rubber texture, thank you. And I don't, I don't subscribe to that. I still believe it's like the importance of comics. Like you move through the stages, so it's up to you, like per stage, to leave your mark. Meaning, if you get the pages back and you're scripting, like you have to make that dialogue and those captions stand out, because at that point the artwork might already be complete. So like you need to add something to that conversation, like stuff like that. Like I think a lot of that we don't see too much of anymore. We got some of those 90s rope veins here. Oh my God, it's an hour. Guys, I really thought I was coming here for 30 minutes. Let me get going. I can only do so much with the quality of this camera too, because I know what the output is. We're going to try and come back tomorrow. Tomorrow would be more GI Joe. Maybe we'll do one of my favorites. Maybe we'll draw Chuckles. I don't know. We'll see though. Let's just. He does great diners. Yeah, looks great. All right, guys. I'm all caught up on the chat. Thank you so much.